Hello family, how everybody doing? Today is Saturday, August 24th, 2019. Here I am in Hampton, Virginia at Fort Monroe, Point Comfort, right here overlooking the Chesapeake Bay here. And I'm here witnessing the 400th anniversary of the African arrival in Hampton, Virginia in the year 1619. And so it's been a lot of events going on today. There's a lot of music, a lot of festivities, a lot of speakers, keynote addresses, a lot of people from all over here. So it's a very historic time. The next event will not be until 2119. So that's another 100 years from now. The one prior to that was in 1919. So, but here we are today, August 24th, Saturday, and this was where a Portuguese ship called the Batista left Luanda, Angola in the year 1619, and the ship was loaded with kidnapped Africans, kidnapped from the Kingdom of Congo and from the Kingdom of Nadongo, of Kimbundu-speaking people. And they were loaded onto the Portuguese ship Batista, and they were heading to Veracruz, New Spain, which is Mexico today. But on the way there, they were attacked by two pirate ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer. The White Lion stole about 20 or so of those Africans, Angolan Africans, and the White Treasurer did the same thing. They stole about 20 to 25. And they headed down the Chesapeake Bay right here to the colony of Virginia, and they exchanged them for food. But those Africans that came here, they were not slaves as we know it today, as we call slavery today. Slavery was not existent in the colonial Virginia, in Jamestown at that time. Slavery was not going on. Great Britain was not involved in the slave trade in 1619, although other European powers were. The French, the Portuguese, the Spaniards. But Britain was not involved in that. They didn't get involved until later on, about the 1640s, when they heard about the sugarcane fields in Barbados. That's when Great Britain got interested. So at the time of the landing of the first Africans here in 1619, August of 1619, somewhere between August 20th and August 30th, according to the ship log books, they did not come here as slaves. They were put to work as indentured servants, because that is what the colonial Englishmen were bringing here, was indentured servants from England. And so they put the Africans to work as indentured servants as well. And many of them worked their contract, might have been 10 years, might have been 20 years. After they finished their contract, they were free men. They were able to purchase land. They had various skills, artisans, blacksmiths, and they were able to contribute to the colonial society, the colonial community here. And not just in the year 1619, but also 1620, 1621, 1622 on through. There were many Africans that were coming here, and they were used, again, as I said, as indentured servants. And of course, many of them married. Many of the Africans married English women. Some married African women. They had children. So there was a second generation and a third generation that was growing within the free African community within Virginia and in Jamestown. But eventually, the slave laws started to be passed by the General Assembly, starting in the year 1639, and by the year 1705, legalized slavery was now the law of the land. So it took almost 100 years from when those first Africans came to Virginia to when it was legalized slavery in the colonies by 1705. But it took time. It didn't happen overnight, but it was a systematic effort to disenfranchise the free African community, because by then Great Britain had got involved in the slave trade. They saw the profitability of it, and so they could see that these free Africans, these free people, that profit could be made by enslaving them, and that's what happened. And many of their descendants and their children and their grandchildren. And so in my book I talk about that, how the slavery laws got started, starting in 1639 on through. And but we need to keep that fact in mind, that they were not brought here as slaves, because slavery was not going on in the colony of Virginia, not until much later. Now, have you taken a DNA test? You should do that. A DNA test can tell you a lot about your roots, your family history. It might tell you just like it told mine. I took my DNA test, and my father as well. I found out that I have some Portuguese, I have some Angolan, I have some British, I have some Irish, Scandinavian. I embrace all of these ethnicities in my DNA. It's wonderful to learn about their cultures, learn about the people, the language. It's wonderful. And so likewise, you too, take a DNA test and learn, and to find out what your makeup is. And you may find out that you might have African, and that's a good thing, as well as all the other cultures that maybe you don't know you have, or maybe you do. You can also do conventional search methods on searching your family roots, doing genealogy, looking at the federal census records. Every 10 years, the federal government would have what's just called a federal census, where every person is counted in the United States. Every person that's living in every household is documented down, their age, their birthplace, their occupation. And this goes all the way back to the year 1790, was the first U.S. Census, all the way up to, we're getting ready to have one in 2020. The only thing is that every time they do have the federal census, it's not released to the public until after 75 years has passed. So therefore, the only census that's now available to the public is the 1940 census, or I should say, the most recent federal census that's available to the public is the 1940 census, going back. So 1940 is available, 1930, 1920, all the way back through, all the way to 1790. The only exception being the census of the year 1890. That census is lost forever due to a fire that took place at the archives repository, and it was greatly damaged by fire and smoke, and so they were not able to restore that. So that 1890 census is gone forever. But all the other ones are available, and so that's one source of how you can do your genealogy, is look up your grandparents or your great-grandparents, if you know their names, on the census. You might even your grandparents, or your parents might even be listed, depending on how old you are. You also have another way of looking at your roots, tracing your family genealogy, by interviewing some of your relatives. Interview your grandparents while they're still alive, or your uncles, aunts, even your parents. And write down information. Look into the family records that you have in the house, the old obituaries, funeral notices, death notices, things such as that, death certificates, birth certificates. And start making a journal, noting all this down, starting with you, your parents, their parents, and so forth. You have a father's side, and you also have a mother's side, the paternal and the maternal. And there's many other ways that you can do about it. There's genealogy groups that can help assist you. There's a lot of genealogy resources that are online showing you how you could take these steps. But that's how you begin, is jotting down and making a journal of your family, their names, when they were born, who their parents were, and where they were born as well. Very interesting. The DNA test is one way, the conventional methods are another way. And as far as African American genealogy, the same rules apply, but then there's also some additional challenges and roadblocks because of slavery. But you can still get around those also when you trace African American genealogy. There are estate records, probate records, wills, tax records, many other ways that you can put together African American genealogy. I've been able to do it on my father's side, and this latest book that I wrote about 1619 honors my mother's side of the family. And so, with that being said, if you were able to come out here to Hampton and witness this event, it's a wonderful thing. But I think they're streaming it live on C-SPAN, so if you were not able to be here, you can still be able to get the televised portion of it on C-SPAN. So you can check that out. I know there's events still going on for the rest of the day, and also tomorrow, Sunday as well. I believe there's the final day of the events here. So people are having a great time here, reconnecting. I've heard of a lot of different family stories here by different people that I've spoken to. Just amazing. Many people that I've been able to meet and hear about their stories, their oral accounts, and their projects, their family genealogy projects. It's very, very interesting. So, 1619, a very pivotal year as far as African American history. And with that being said, I'm glad I was able to meet with y'all today, and we'll keep in touch, and we will discuss more about genealogy, family history. Slavery is gone, thank goodness, but the legacy still lives on. Jim Crow still lives on. Systematic racism still lives on. We just have to show love to one another, and we can overcome this. Let me let you listen to some of the sights and sounds for a minute here. Hear the music, the people. Everybody's having a good time. There's the Chesapeake Bay right there. Standing at the very landing where the first Africans came in to Hampton, Virginia. All right, y'all. Thank you for talking. Here's my book. I know it's looking in a mirror, so not good at putting that up, but I'm happy. This is a great day, and we got many more good days to come. Thank you. We'll talk again.